How you doing? So here are the pros and cons on champion attributes in MCOC. So why not start with the best champion in the game, Groot? Okay, I'm just kidding. But let me just mention the pros about it. The pros about champion attributes, you can pretty much tell the champions that's going to get a buff. I do believe any champion with 13 points or less, it could be higher than 13 points, but any champion with 13 points or less is likely to get a buff. So let's add up all the scores total. So he has about 2.5, 3.5, 8.5, 9.5, 11 points. So you could tell Groot is going to get a buff. Also, this is good for beginners who've never played the game, so they can kind of get an idea who to use, and they're likely going to be looking for champions that are easy to use. Obviously, Groot is not a good example because he hits like a noodle, but I'm assuming like Colossus, who's ease of use of 5, they're likely going to be using somebody like Colossus. So that obviously those are the pros, but there are a lot of cons in this that I'm gonna be talking about. Hopefully they can fix it as soon as possible, you know. So let's talk about the cons of MCOC attributes or champion attributes they have. Hela. Hela actually has the lowest champion attributes in the game. If you add the total, it's what, 2, 6, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 points, even lower than Groot. But with synergy, with the Odin synergy, she's actually pretty good in the hands of a skilled player. So that's the thing. Is another probably could be the biggest con when it comes to MCIC attributes is they don't talk about synergies. They're not including synergies when it comes to the MCOC attributes. She has a very powerful synergy with Odin, which makes her damage obviously going to be a 5. And if they can give her a champion a 6 for damage, Hela would be definitely one of them for sure. So those are probably the cons. Biggest cons is they don't include the synergies when it comes to MCOC champion attributes. What they could do is they could increase her survivability by giving her an armor up buff, or increase her physical resistance and increase her utility. Maybe give her like an unstoppable buff, similar to Red Magneto with a cooldown of 14 seconds. And I believe with having an unstoppable buff, it'll make it easier for you to use her. When you charge her heavy attack, so that would be increasing it by at least half a point to a point by gaining that unstoppable thing. So that's all I could say for increasing. I don't think they would increase her damage, obviously, because she has the Odin synergy. But that's like she can probably get a tune-up that doesn't make her broken, because they gotta be careful how they buff Hela, because she could definitely be broken if they buff her in a way that is going to be too powerful with the Odin synergy. Another champion that is pretty good with synergy, if you had to guess, who do you think it is? It's a skill class. Okay, still not sure who it is. Let me give you another hint. It starts with an A. What do you think it is? Agent Venom. Agent Venom is not that good by himself, but with synergies, he's really good. Let's look at his champion attributes. Okay, this is another champion that's likely to get a buff. So when you add all the total scores, that's 2, 3, 8, 10, 12 and a half. Okay, 12 and a half points, so just below 13 points. So he's very likely to get a buff. Okay, but who knows, because he has such powerful synergy with Scorpion and Venom. But if, let's say, he does get a buff, they gotta be careful how they buff him, because look at his damage is supposed to be 1 out of 5. That's without synergy. But with synergy, his damage is a 5. So they gotta be careful. If they increase his damage without like nerfing his synergies with Scorpion and Craven, his damage, he could be doing like 2 million damage in less than a minute. That's right, less than a minute. I'm not talking about minutes, seconds. He could be beating champions in 2 million health in seconds, not minutes. So they gotta be careful how they buff certain champions, I would say. And they, like I said, it's kind of misleading because it doesn't include synergies. When you can see his damage is 1 out of 5, his damage is probably the most increased damage in the game with synergy. It's really like increased by like at least 300%, maybe even upwards of 500% when it comes to his damage. So that's why one thing I could say, like, I think they need to be careful how they buff champions who have great synergy partners. Another con, which could even be a bigger con, is damage mastery. They don't include damage mastery on this list. So that's another con about this. I would say when it comes to champion attributes. First of all, I'm not sure how does Doom get 4 out of 5 in survivability. He doesn't have any regen, he doesn't have any immunities. But let's just say his survivability is 4 out of 5, right? With damage mastery, obviously Doom's damage is not, survivability is not going to be 4 out of 5. Somebody like me who always runs damage mastery, like, obviously he's going to what do you call that? His survivability is not going to be that strong. So since I had damage mastery, and I know a lot of people do, they always have damage mastery. For me, since I put them on, I never really take them off. It doesn't matter whose champion I'm using. Even when I was doing Alliance War, I only just put champions that were bleed and poison immune in Alliance War. So that's why I never took it off. So that's a big factor when you're looking at champions in the game. So they don't include damage mastery when you look at champion attributes. And some champions in the game that really shine with damage mastery. So who do you think it is? If you had to guess. Who really shines with damage mastery? There's a lot, but one of them for sure that shines with damage mastery is Diablo. Diablo shines. He could run without damage mastery with Diablo, but he's so much better with it. Let me explain why. It's amazing his survivability is 5 out of 5 without running damage mastery. But when you're running damage mastery, his survivability is actually better because he's 100% poison resistance. And not only so, if you're running willpower, she's going to be constantly healing from it. As you can see, incoming poison effects suffer 100% minus 100% potency. And from his signature ability, while poison, Diablo takes 30% reduced damage from all sources, that including recoil as well. So he's even more sustainable running damage mastery and willpower. So if you could give a 6 points of survivability to someone, I would say it's Diablo for sure. So, and his damage is 3 out of 5. Yeah, that would make sense. But if you're running damage mastery, I would say his damage is 4 out of 5. Diablo. So, like, another con about champion attributes is you're not including damage mastery, which some champions does shine. Let's look at another champion that shines with damage mastery. If you had to guess who it is. Starts with an H, and he looks. There he is. It's Hercules. So, his damage is supposed to be 5 here. I doubt it without damage mastery. I saw a damage comparison with Kingslayer. He did it with damage mastery and without damage mastery. It took him like a minute and 31 seconds with a 6-star rank 3 to take down Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. I don't even know if he was using synergy, but with synergies, my 4-star Nebula was able to take down Winter Soldier in 63 seconds. Okay? My 6-star rank 3 Unawakened, unboosted, has been able to take down Realm of Legends Winter Soldier in 33 seconds. So, that's with damage mastery, to be fair. But with damage mastery, it took Hercules 55 seconds, which is pretty good. Any champion under a minute that can take down Realm of Legends Winter Soldier is pretty good. So I can see why his damage is a 5 with damage mastery, but without it, it took 1 minute and 31 seconds with a 6-star rank 3. That's not good for a 6-star rank 3. You know, for a 4-star, yeah, but not for a 6-star rank 3. So I could see his damage being a 4 out of 5 without damage mastery. So I don't see his damage is 5 out of 5 without damage mastery. 4 out of 5 damage, I see that. I could see that. So let's look at another thing. Another con about this is, especially a lot of beginners are going to be looking at this, right? And that's probably the biggest con is when about this. Not, I don't know which one is the biggest con. There's like 3 of them. One is it doesn't show about synergies. All right, it doesn't talk about synergies. It doesn't include the champion attributes. Number 2, it doesn't include damage mastery. Number 3, look at what do you call this, Magneto? Okay, he has like the highest champion attributes in the game. So what is that total? 25 minus 1.5, so 23.5 points total. Clearly he's not going to get a buff, okay? And obviously he's probably not going to get a nerf. I've said this many times that I think Red Magneto is the best champion in the game if only metal champions exist on the game. But that's not the case. Only 1/3 of the champions in the game are metal. So I could agree with this data if he was only like against metal champions. But for beginners, they're gonna pick him because they look at his stats and like, oh, I could see he's gonna be the number 1 champion in the game. Yeah, they're only metals. But keep in mind, with a limited roster, if you're a beginner, most likely you're not gonna have all the counters for the game where you're just gonna pick Red Magneto for medals, right? Like somebody like Diablo who can counter many fights. You know, not just metal. You know, metal he can do, but actually some metals he probably not want to go up against because they're poison immune. But you know what I mean? That's another con about the data, is because they're relying on when players use the champions and they only use them for certain matches. And I can understand that if you have a well-developed roster. Personally, I just like champions who I can use, like could solo entire quests by themselves, like Diablo. So those are obviously the pros and cons about champion attributes. What do you guys think about champion attributes? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Not many MCO YouTubers covers it, talks about it. I like to cover it because it gives you just a different perspective from other people who might want to use the champion, especially for beginners. Thank you.